Okay, today I'm going to talk to you about the law of sines. The law of sines gives us a proportion of ratios. If you take a side, that's measure A, and divide it by the sine of the angle that made that side, that ratio will be the same as another side of the same triangle divided by the sine of the angle that made that side. And so there are these three ratios that in any triangle they will be true if indeed it is a triangle. And it doesn't have to be a 90-degree right triangle. All right, to begin with, we need to do something with our calculator. We're going to be working with degrees. But for some reason, these calculators are set up to default to something called radians, which you don't know about yet. So the first thing that you need to do is you need to push the mode button, and you need to go down here where it says radian and move over to degree and push enter. And now it's set up, which you should have already done on the last paper that you did. And then just second mode, and you're ready to use the calculator. Okay, using the law of sines, we're just going to, just for argument's sake, we'll pick two of these, and there are four measures that we need to make this true. One of them is going to be missing. It's the one that they're going to ask us for in the problem. And so we fill in the values for everything else, put an X for the unknown, cross multiply, and solve. Sounds simple when I say it. It actually is a pretty simple, straightforward process. So let's see how it works. On your worksheet, number 1, which I already worked out for you, but anyway, number 1, it says find AC. It means what's the length of the side AC. All right, AC is little b because it's across from angle B. This 24 here, that's across from angle C, so it's little c. Well, let's see here. I've got an angle and no measure for B, and I've got a measure but no angle for C. I need two angles, and then I can solve for the missing side. Now, I'm saying that because in this one, fundamentally, there's something that we need to do to begin with. We need to find out how much angle C is, because it corresponds to the side that we do have a definite measure for. So how much is angle C? Well, this is a triangle, and all three angles always add up to 180. So to find the measure of angle C, we start with 180, and we subtract 118 and 22. And there's the measure of angle C. All right. Now I think we have enough information to work this problem. These two values are going to be used together in one ratio, and these two are going to be used together in one ratio. And it will look like this. We'll start with this one, 24 over, because the side measure goes on the top. The sine of 40, and that's going to equal, all right, here's our other ratio. The side measure, we don't know what it is, how much it is, that's the unknown, so we'll call it X, being divided by the sine of 22. Now we could go to the calculator and type in sine of 40, but it's probably going to give us a very strange looking answer, so we don't want to do that part yet. And we could do the same thing with sine of 22, but again, it'd be a real ugly number to work with. So to begin with, we're going to cross multiply. 24 times sine of 22 looks like this. 24 sine 22. And then when we cross multiply the other way, we get x times sine of 40, which we'll just write like this. X sine of 40. You put this in parentheses. That's the way it will look in the calculator, but it really doesn't matter. Okay, we need the x by itself, and that comes from dividing by sine of 40. So we'll divide both sides by sine of 40. That's what's getting multiplied to the x. Sine 40. And now we're ready to go to our calculator and get an answer. All that's left over here is x, so x equals. Now in the calculator, here's how we want to do this. We want to put the entire top of the fraction inside parentheses. So open parenthesis, 24 sine. See how it opened up a parenthesis here, so we'll type in 22 close parenthesis. And now we need another close parenthesis to match with this one here. Then the divide sign, sine of 40. Enter. Now the instructions say, I believe, to round to the nearest tenth. Let me check. Yep. So if we round this to the nearest tenth, that 9 rounds up to 10, which makes that round up to 14. So the answer is 14. Okay, look at what I did again there. Start with the parenthesis, type in all of the top of the fraction, and then use a closing parenthesis, then the divide sign, and then sine of whatever the angle measure is. Not too bad. Do this. Do this. This is part of the work. Show me this work. Okay. The law of sines can also be used to calculate an angle measure. We just did one for side measure. Side AC equals 14. If it's an angle that we're looking for, then we'll have two side measures, but only one angle measure, and then we'll solve for the other angle measure. Okay, it's going to look like this. This is also one of the problems, one of the exercises that I worked out on your worksheet. Find the measure of angle C. Well, here's angle C. Okay, I can go ahead and set up this proportion right here. This angle, which I don't know, is going to correspond to that side. And now I look, I've got a side measure here, but no angle there. I could go ahead and calculate for it. But that would just take extra steps. Here I have another side measure, and I have the angle that corresponds to it. So there's what I'm going to use for my other ratio. And it will look like this. I'll start with this one. Okay, 29, the side measure over sine of 82 equals, now here's the other ratio, 20 over sine of x. Go ahead and cross multiply just like we did before. 20 sine of 82 equals, now this one, 29 sine of x. Okay, we need to get the x by itself. Very first thing that we're going to do to get x by itself is divide both sides by 29. That gets rid of the 29 on this side. So divide by 29 over here. Divide by 29 over here. All right. Sine of x equals 20 sine of 82 divided by 29. You know how to do this based on one of the worksheets that you did last week. Inverse trig functions or inverse trig ratios. In the calculator, you're going to use it to get rid of the sine part of this and just leave the x. X, remember, stands for this angle measure right here. So x is going to equal inverse sine. And then all of this gets put in the parentheses. Remember, it will bring up a parenthesis here. And then you're going to type in another opening parenthesis, 20 sine 82. Close that parenthesis, divided by 29. And another closing parenthesis, enter. So let's type that in the calculator. Okay, I'm going to get the calculator up here where you can see it all. Alright, inverse sine, so second sine. Start with another parenthesis, 20 sine 82, close that, have another closing one, divided by 29, and a final closing parenthesis, enter. Round to the nearest tenth. There's what I typed in. Rounded to the nearest tenth, that would become a 1 right there. So 43.1. If you call it 43, that's fine. 43 degrees. Or 43.1 degrees. Not too bad. Oh, looky here. Solve this triangle. In your work, this is actually number 11. I'll show you how to solve a triangle. Solving a triangle means that you come up with all three side measures, all three angle measures. The law of sines allows us to do that. So I'm going to make a little table over here. I'm going to do sides, angles. Okay, side A, B, C. Angle A, angle B, angle C. I'm going to fill in the information that I already have. Angle A is 70 degrees. Side A is 25. Side C is 26. All right. So we've got this ratio here, or the information that we need to make a ratio, and we can also now do this one right here. And it will look like this. Okay. 25 over sine of 70 equals. I don't know how much angle C is, but I know how much side C is. Side C is 26. Sine, I'll just put capital B. So I know that I'm solving for angle B. Okay, cross multiply. So 26 sine of 70 equals 25 sine of B. I don't know why I put that parenthesis there. It's not needed. Divide both sides by 25. So sine of B equals 26 sine of 70 divided by 25. So in my calculator, B will equal inverse sine of 26 sine 70 divided by 25. And here we go. Inverse sine 26 sine 70 divided by 25 equals 77.8. So C is 77.8 degrees. Now you will have to do one more sine ratio. But what you don't have to do is you don't have to calculate with sine another angle. To get the measure of angle, I said B, that's C. What am I thinking? C. To get the measure of angle B, we just start with 180 and we subtract off the two angles that we do know. So here we go. 180 minus 70 minus 77.8. 32.2. Angle B is 32.2. All right, one more piece. We need the measure of side B. So I can either use this ratio to work with or this ratio to work with, but I know I'm going to be using this one right here. So B over sine of 32.2 equals. I think I want to use this one because it doesn't have a decimal for the angle. So 25 over sine of 70. Right, cross multiply. B sine of 70 equals 25 sine 32.2. Divide both sides by sine of 70. So B equals this right here. Type that in the calculator. 25 sine 32.2. Remember, two parentheses here, two closing parentheses, divided by sine 70. Round that to the nearest tenth, 14.2. 14.2. There you go. I will agree there's a lot of steps. Use the examples that I gave you. Watch this video a couple of times. You can do it. Your calculator will do the hard part for you. Don't get frustrated if you type it in wrong. Just type it in again. You can do it. If you have questions, you get lost, stuck, give me a call, send me a message, send me an email. Bye.